Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Halloween edition of Warrior Weekly. Halloween coming up this weekend. Travis, Whipple, Matt Prink here, and a very good weekend for Winona State football. Travis getting back on track after 2 straight losses.
Yeah, we talked about it last week on the show that they really have an opportunity here to still make postseason play, and it's imperative that they win out and take care of business. And I went up to Seafoam Stadium and had a great outing at Concordia St. Paul, and Brian Bradshaw making his first career start, going 15 of 22 for 202 yards, I think was a big piece of that. Of course, Rayon Simmons continues to do what he does, 131 yards and a touchdown. But great all-around effort. I've been impressed all year with Thomas Kinney's kicking ability. I think in close games, those types of plays can really make a difference, and he hit for a career-long field goal this weekend at 43 yards.
And also, not to overlook Derek Engel, finally getting back on track this week. 5 catches, 110 yards, including really the biggest play of the first half when Brian Bradshaw finally found his timing, hit Derek for a 54-yard gain, and it's good to finally see him. I know that's what head coach Tom Sawyer said. It's good to have him back on track. Anytime they can get him one-on-one with an opposing player, it's good news for Winona State.
Absolutely. It's a tough matchup, and yards after catch are always big for him. So great win up at Concordia, and now looking ahead, opportunity to go down to play the Mustangs at Southwest Minnesota State on Saturday. And again, I think they're all huge, and an opportunity to make postseason play is still there for them.
Yeah, very big game coming up on Saturday. That game slated for a 4:30 start over in Marshall, Minnesota. So make sure if you can come cheer on the Warriors. Otherwise, listen on 89.5 KQAL pregame, Merchants Bank pregame show starting at 4 p.m. Moving on to volleyball, Travis, and a very tough NSIC, as we always say, and the Warrior volleyball team falling 2 times this weekend, but to top 15 teams.
You don't get a break in the NSIC, specifically in volleyball. I think it's carryover in all of our sports, but volleyball specifically. You play the number 6 ranked Mustangs on Friday night, and then you play the number 14 ranked Mavericks of Mankato on Saturday. So it's they did fall 2 times over the weekend. Now 4-9 in the NSIC, 9-13 overall. I think they're getting better though. They're improving, and that's the key. Shannon McGowan, kind of leader of that team, led them once again in digs on the weekend.
Moving on to cross-country, women continue to do very well in the NSIC. Another top 10 finish. They finished 9th. Men finished 15th out at the Mount Marty Invitational in Yankton, South Dakota. And the usual for the women's, Kayla Goodmunson leading them all the way, and Kyle Damon also doing very well for the men's team as he placed 57th overall.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right on that. Kayla, 19 minutes, 13 seconds on hers. And then Kelsey Stensland, also a tremendous runner, was just under 20 minutes as well. So leading the way there for the women. And as you mentioned, two good finishes at that invitational. And both squads have the weekend off and then travel to Wayne next up for them.
Winona State Soccer had one of their best weekends this past weekend as they took their 7-game shutout streak and continued it as they defeated their foe 1-0 on Friday. But the biggest game, I thought, Travis, was Mankato, a very talented squad up there in the top 3 of the NSIC in soccer, and they really took it to them. They let in 1 goal, their first goal allowed, Annabelle Pedio in that defense in 8 games. They defeated the Mavericks of Mankato 2-1, and really going into playoffs here, they don't have that many games left.
Yeah, they have 2 regular season games this weekend and a chance to win the conference outright if they win both of those. And so that's why you look at that Minnesota State matchup this past weekend, how big that was, that put them in first place. And so some big matchups this weekend, a chance to win it outright, host the NSIC tournament, and then of course you're always looking at the possibility of hosting a regional. But you're exactly right. Defense is tough. We talk about it a lot. Anna Belpedio is one of the best keepers in the country. The rest of the defense came up pretty big this weekend too.
Obviously, a little fire still burning from last year when they didn't make it into the NCAA playoffs. That's certainly fueling them this season, as now they are 9-1-1 in the NSIC and 12-3-1 overall. So hopefully soccer can continue their dominance and take that into the playoffs. And Travis, shifting gears again to baseball, I know it's the fall, but Tony Mueller, well-known baseball player around here, well-known all-around athlete, best in the field as he played for the lacrosse Loggers this past summer.
Oh, he's an outstanding student athlete. As you mentioned, he's somebody that we were able to get locally. He's from lacrosse and has a great following there. But a lot of people don't know that he had some tremendous opportunities to play Division I baseball and really just fell in love with Winona State. And we're very fortunate to have him. He played an outstanding summer for the Loggers.
Yeah, and also you look at his stat sheet, batted over 300 his second year. He's with the Loggers quite a bit. One of those gamers who can pitch. Can play outfield, one of the best fielding percentages in the Northwest, in the Northwoods League there over in Wisconsin. And now women's basketball, we'll have that coming up with head coach Scott Ballard, but let's talk real quick about their NSIC rankings, preseason rankings, coaches poll. They're coming in as slated 4th.
Yeah, I kind of would have to say it's probably where they should be at this time of year, and the preseason polls don't mean a lot. I think they're better than that, and they'll prove it. A lot of talent, but yet a young team still, with only 2 seniors in Afton Glander and Natalie Giegler. So there's still a lot to be proved. They've got 3 Division I exhibition matchups here right away, which I think will test them and help them in the conference schedule. But it's just a tough league. You look at Wayne, Augustana, Concordia, and Minnesota Duluth, where the schools picked ahead of them. All had great seasons last year and returned quite a bit. But again, I think this is a very good Winona State team, and I think they'll probably finish higher than 4.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at last year when they started off so hot in that exhibition schedule and defeated teams like the Gophers and went out to South Dakota and defeated the Coyotes. So hopefully they can mimic that early start, that fast start from last season. So coming up next after the break, we'll talk with head coach Scott Ballard about these preseason rankings as well as their exhibition schedule and where he thinks his team is at so far. Warrior Weekly will continue right after this.
Financial Frady Caddis. Anxiety of banking, money, and credit planning to assume qualities of frightened feline, i.e. scaredy cat.
I never heard of Financial Frady Caddis, but I think I had it. To me, Financial Frady Caddis is when you walk into a bank and it scares you. Nobody's smiling, nobody will help you, and you're not quite sure where to go. Merchants Bank is different. You walk in and you're greeted with a smile, so they make you feel comfortable right off the bat. That's why Merchants Bank is the bank that service builds.
Power, intensity, courage, teamwork, reaching back for more, knowing you're a champion. That's our purple. Winona State Athletics. Find your purple.
Welcome back to Warrior Weekly. I'm here with head coach Scott Ballard. And coach, the preseason rankings have come out and you guys are picked to finish 4th. What do you make of the preseason rankings usually?
Well, I think there's so much reflection of the past season and returners that you have coming back from the previous season that people make their judgments on, where they guesstimate you're going to finish among the pack. To me, with as young as we were a year ago and, finishing in the fifth spot, I think it's respect from a lot of the teams in our league. But, all the teams have new additions to their teams. So, polls are something that you can put in your scrapbook, but that's about the extent of how valuable they are. What matters most is not what other coaches and people think of your team, but it's what your team thinks that they can accomplish. And we, we're like everybody else. We're optimistic this time of the year, and nobody's lost a game since last March, and the sting of losing is faded away, and now the anticipation and enthusiasm that you have to start a brand new season is just around the corner, and we're excited about our group. We've added a lot of depth and size and speed to our team, and we have a good nucleus of returners at every position that will be valuable experience and help make the transition for our new people smooth and quick, we hope.
You started off so well last year, going up to the barn, defeating the Gophers, going out to Yankton, South Dakota, and defeating the Coyotes.
Right.
How can you guys mimic that success from last season and get off to the quick start this season?
Well, first of all, we're not playing the Gophers in South Dakota this year. We've upgraded our exhibition schedule, and we're playing Green Bay, who won 28 games a year ago. I think they've won their league 12 years in a row. They have their top 12 kids back. They're a legitimate top 15 Division I program. 2 years ago, they beat us by 35 when we had our best team ever. So that's going to be a tremendous challenge for us just after 11 practices to go up there and try to compete and contain their speed and just try to control things and not let it get out of hand. But it's a tremendous challenge, and it's something that's going to make us better in a hurry, make us realize what our weaknesses are, right out of the gate. But they're valuable experiences. They may not all feel good, but they're all valuable because you can learn something from it, and it doesn't affect your record. Then 4 days later, we go down to Madison and we play the Badgers, who won 21 games last year, and they've got the majority of their team back. And for all practical reasons, this is probably the best team that they've ever had in the history of their program. The difference between them and Green Bay is that Madison has 2 or 3 6'4", 6'5" players. Green Bay is more our size, but they're more versatile and more of an open court type team. Madison is more of a traditional Big Ten team with huge post players, power game. So it's two completely different styles of play, but they're both going to be very challenging for us. And then our third Division I opponent will be against North Dakota State on November 9th, I believe it is. And they're coming off a successful season a year ago. So we're going to learn a lot about ourselves and each other in our exhibition season. And we're looking forward to it, but it's going to be a big challenge.
Hey, real quick here, you try and replace a four-year starter like Anna Wirtz.
Mm-hmm.
And who are some players maybe that have stepped up early in these first 11 practices that have really caught your eye and could maybe fill that void?
Well, Anna was an All-American because she had 4 years in the system and an experience. We've got a lot of young players on our team, but our sophomore class is very experienced because of the number of games and minutes that they played a year ago. We're not asking anybody on our team to replace Anna Wirtz. We're asking everybody to, improve their game, play to their strength, be unselfish, just play with a basketball IQ, and we're asking everybody to step up defensively and rebounding wise. That was the one area that I felt like our young team a year ago was inconsistent, was on the defensive and rebounding end. So if we can improve in those two areas, we feel like we've got enough scoring potential that if we just get stronger and better and more physical in the defensive end, and then because of our depth, I think we're going to be able to do a lot more full court defensive stuff this year and get in transition more, which is fun to watch, fun to play, fun to coach. So realistically, we could be playing 10 or 12 kids a game, and that's exciting. We got a lot of work to do, but we got a lot of good things to work with.
Well, thank you, Coach, for joining me here on Warrior Weekly. Make sure you can listen live at WinonaStateWarriors.com. Don Veith and Travis Whipple will be traveling with the women's basketball team to take on Green Bay. And remember, that is this Saturday, the Saturday right before Halloween. That'll do it for this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. We'll see you next week.